Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video. This video may be just a little controversial today, and I fucking hope it is. Now, the particular reason I want to talk about this video is specifically because of the comments. There are so many people split down the middle, like either defending this kid or just saying that the kid doesn't deserve anything and that he's a dumbass. And you'd probably be wondering, why in the fuck would people defend a kid taking a gun to school? Now, a lot of the people defending this kid are the same kind of people who get a massive boner watching the intro to The Punisher. And these people have the same attitude as those who, like, you know those videos where people go on to, like, government buildings where they house authorities, like courthouses or police stations, and then they just start walking around the parking lot recording everything, and when the cops come out, they're like, hey, is there any particular reason why you're recording? This is kind of weird. And then their response is, this is public property, I can do whatever I want. And the cops respond, yeah, that's fine, but why are you doing this? It's weird. And their response again is, it's public property, I can do whatever I want, right? As like a way to get a rise out of cops because they think that walking around in public property and recording police cruisers and people's personal cars and belongings isn't weird behavior. Like, these are the kinds of people that are defending this kid. And I also guarantee that a lot of the people who are defending this kid in the comments didn't even watch the entirety of the video and stopped halfway through, because in all honesty, believe it or not, from beginning to the halfway point of this video, you can actually kind of reason with the kid. I know that sounds kind of wild, but he genuinely does not sound like a bad person until the halfway mark kind of passes and he starts acting like a fucking moron. Anyways, I'll go ahead and get into it. There's a channel called the Law and Crime Network that uploaded a video called Ohio High Schooler Caught with a Gun on School Campus.
On May 2nd, Pepper Pike police officers were called to Orange High School after a bullet was found in the cafeteria. The school was placed on a modified lockdown as officers began searching every student in the school. Just minutes into the search, body camera video shows 18-year-old junior Nolan Rosen approach officers, asking whether they've recovered a bullet. Quickly, Rosen says he's not a school shooter.
It's not a bullet you found on the gun, right?
I want you to worry.
Oh, okay. Somebody find something you know about?
Because I had a bullet in my pocket, but it wasn't like, it's not like I'm planning anything.
Oh, okay.
I dropped
Wait,
it on the ground.
Okay.
But I didn't know I'm not allowed to bring a bullet. Wait, I'm not like a school shooter. Makes sense.
Well, let me ask you this while I got you right here. Just be honest with me. You didn't bring any gun into school, did you?
No.
That's the only you only had one round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so at first watching the video, you're like, okay, you know, this actually isn't the worst thing in the world. He only had one bullet. He told the cop that. For some stupid-ass reason, decided to clarify that he's not a school shooter because that totally doesn't raise suspicion. And I guess I can respect the fact that he was honest with the cops, since that probably saved him like 2 or 3 hours of searching for a gun that wasn't there. But then the kid decides to fuck up completely, and he doubles down and says, there's no statute of bringing a bullet to school.
And I looked it up. It said there's no statute for bringing up, like there's no law against bringing a bullet to the school.
And this was a point a lot of people in the comments are trying to prove, which is genuinely so fucking stupid. Some people forget that being suspected of a crime can legally put you in a position where you can be detained and questioned. So yeah, the kid did say he didn't have a gun on him or in the school, and there is no legal law of having specifically bullets with you. What do you think people are going to assume when you have something that only has one purpose, and the one purpose is that it goes into a gun? The students and the staff and even the cops are not going to be like, oh, he's just an 18-year-old bringing his bullets for show and tell. Like, forgive me for thinking this way, but if I found a bullet in my school cafeteria, I'm fucking leaving. I'm going home. Like, especially a few years ago, back when I was in high school and these threats were being made left and right, I'm not sticking around to find out if there's somebody with a gun. I'm leaving. I'm not staying, dude. So making this statement like there's no legal law for it is extremely retarded because you're scaring the shit out of people. Like, just to put this mildly into more perspective, let's say I'm in high school and I bring the handle to a knife in my bag and it just slips out and somebody finds it. And the cops show up. What do you think they're going to be looking for that's related to that handle of the knife? They're gonna be looking for the knife. Like, I can't understand how people keep defending this shit. Like, believe it or not, sitting here with my thumb up my ass and saying there's no law against taking a knife handle to school is not gonna get me off scot-free. It's like the kid expected the cops to be like, oh, you're right, let's pack it up and leave, time to go. It's even more frustrating reading the comments of like significantly older people who keep saying shit like, when I was 12 years old, I could bring my 50 cal to school and nobody would say shit to me. 250 years ago when I was in high school, I bring my quintuple barrel grenade launcher and my teacher gave me an A+ plus. And there's so many of these comments like, well, back when my dad was in high school, or 65 years ago when I was in high school, or when I was 12 or 13 or fucking 8 years old, I'd bring a gun to school. And it's like they're trying not to think about the fact that back then, schools weren't getting shot up on a yearly basis. And because of that shit happening, laws have adjusted for very obvious reasons. Not to mention people being suspicious of these things.
All right, just turn around, face over here real quick. Put your hand on that table for me.
Oh, I got more bullets. I got 2.
Okay, don't put your hand in your pocket. Just keep your hands on the table.
So in this clip, the kid tells the officer that he has 2 extra bullets, even though beforehand he said that he only had 1. You could make the excuse that he felt pressured by the cops or scared, and I guess he forgot about the other bullets. Which, even if that's the case, the fact that this happened is going to help me prove a point that I'm going to make later. Anyways, they go to his car, and they do find his rifle. It's a lever action, and the cop that was looking at the rifle had absolutely no clue how to use it nor unload it, and at one point he pulls the magazine feeding tube and shoves it in the fucking barrel.
See if this goes up there. Is there not a...
And that part kind of astounded me on the cop's part, because I don't know why the fuck you're messing with a rifle or trying to put things in different places if you have no clue how to use it. But I digress. The gun was safely stored in the car, so it's clear that the kid wasn't really intending to do anything very harmful with it, although that can be debatable given the context of the situation.
Triple check, but
Is he a senior?
he's a junior.
18-year-old junior?
Yeah.
Those are usually the ones that bring guns.
At the same
Now, there's also this clip I want to talk about. I don't know if this is school staff or someone who was working with the cops directly, but this little joke he made was pretty fucking nasty, dude. It's pretty obvious he's got some prejudice towards the kid just because he's an 18-year-old junior. Thankfully, it didn't look like anyone else laughed at that, but that kind of smug shit should get you fired, genuinely. Sure, you could make a deduction from a situation and say, yeah, he could be guilty because of so-and-so, but saying he's an 18-year-old junior, of course he'd bring a gun. That's such a weird thing to say, and at this point, the kid didn't really seem to have any sort of malintent. And sure, he's a moron for taking the bullets into school, but there's not really anything else you could do with that, after obviously having proven that his gun was in his car and completely out of reach. So at this point, if you don't know any Ohio laws, the only irresponsible thing the kid has seemed to have done so far is take the bullets into school. So this is kind of what I mean by going halfway through the video, the kid doesn't really seem like he did much wrong. But as I kept watching, they then present him with these rules and regulations about having a gun in a school safety zone. And the kid goes on this really retarded, unhinged rant about knowing more about the law than the cops do because he looked it up and couldn't find anything.
Never come here.
Alright, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
School's
Well, I didn't look at the policies before I brought it.
It's a law, though.
There wasn't a law.
There is a law.
Not against bringing a gun. There's no statute.
It is against the law to bring a gun into what's called a safety zone or a school, right?
That's subjective.
What is subjective?
What you consider like a safety zone.
I also want to talk about this point he made that the idea of a safety zone is subjective. Now, I scoured the internet for the most generous description of what a school safety zone was. Right, so don't forget, his gun was in his car in the school parking lot. So the most lenient description of a safety zone I found was, for the purposes of this section, the term school safety zone means in, on, or within 500 feet of any real property owned by or leased to any public or private elementary, middle, or high school, or school board in use for elementary, middle, or high school education. The other description said within 1,000 feet of a campus or within the grounds of a public or a private school. Now, also looking into the law here of Ohio Laws and Administrative Rules by the Legislative Service Commission, any person not described in divisions of this section who has written authorization from the Board of Education or governing body of a school to convey deadly weapons or dangerous ordnance into a school safety zone, or to possess a deadly weapon or dangerous ordnance in a school safety zone, and who conveys or possesses a deadly weapon or dangerous ordnance in accordance with that authorization, provided both of the following apply. 1. Either the person has successfully completed the curriculum, instruction, and training established under Section 5502.703 of the Revised Code, or the person has received a certificate of having satisfactorily completed and approved basic peace officer training program, or is a law enforcement officer. And number 2, the board or governing body has notified the public by whatever means the affected school regularly communicates with the public that the board or governing body has authorized one or more persons to go armed within a school operated by the board or governing authority authority. So, that was a shitload of reading, but in total, if he's not a cop, he needs to have completed a safety training program for having the gun, and also has to have authorization from the school and school board that he has one, and is allowed to have it on school property, which obviously he wasn't allowed to have it, because it's pretty fucking clear nobody knew he had one. And this was not hard to find. I just looked up the Ohio laws about having a gun on school premises and school property, and it was pretty easy to find. So after hearing this kid go on this little rant that it's a made-up law and that there's no statute for it, it's not true, and it's getting significantly harder to defend him within that 1 minute time span of him making this argument. And if somehow you're still completely on this kid's side, there is a detective that's talking to him and even shows him on his phone the law about having a gun on school premises, and the kid like not even doubles down at this point, like triple or quadruples down, and says, I didn't find a law for that, and then proceeds to say that what the officer showed him was bullcrap.
Property?
School.
I don't think it does.
Yeah,
School
it does.
safety zone.
School safety zone is defined as any school
Wait,
property.
illegal conveyance or possession of deadly weapon.
Okay, this is just what's happening, okay?
I feel like that statute is
before you-
like bullcrap.
Okay.
Yeah, if I gaslight the officer into thinking the law isn't real, maybe he'll let me go. And then the kid somewhat kind of finally admits that it is a law and says, well, come on guys, I didn't know it was a law, so now that I do, I'm free to go?
Well, now that I know it's a law, why can't I just not bring the gun on school property?
And there was also a lot of people in the comments trying to defend this one as well, and they keep saying, well, he didn't know the law. Obviously, he wasn't trying to do anything bad. He shouldn't be arrested for this. Like, do you know how many people would try and use that excuse in court and likely get away with it if that was allowed? There's a huge reason why saying, I didn't know it was a law is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. Anyways, when his persuasion on the cops doesn't work, he immediately resorts back to, you made up the law. It's fake.
You are though. It's made up.
It's been in
It's
law
made
for
up.
a long
No, it's
time.
made
We
up,
wouldn't
dude.
make up things.
It's
We
made
don't
up.
have the
Yeah, basically after this they throw him in the squad car and they arrest him, which honestly I don't know what else you would expect to happen. Now from the takeaway from this video, I don't think the kid is a bad kid, and I really don't believe he meant to do any harm to anybody, but the irresponsibility as a gun owner on his part is awful, not properly looking up the laws, as well as for whatever reason taking loose bullets in his pocket to class. The only thing he's proven in this entire video is that he shouldn't own a gun, and in all honesty, the lack of common sense is fucking painful. Like, yeah, believe it or not, people are not gonna like it when you take bullets into your classroom, especially when school shootings are so prevalent right now in the United States. I saw this comment as well, said, I'm sure the kid has learned his lesson. That lesson being, never trust authority, never be honest, never talk to cops. Because if he had done that, he would never have gotten into trouble. Stop telling people to do this shit, dude. You're fucking retarded. He shouldn't have brought bullets to school. He shouldn't have been loosely carrying them in his pocket, and obviously so irresponsibly enough that one of them fell out and was left in the cafeteria. Lack of proper gun safety and knowledge of the law is, I think, a good enough reason to have your gun taken away from you. And so many people keep saying, along with this comment, that if he wasn't honest to the cops, nothing ever would have happened. But it says in the beginning of the video that the cops were searching all of the students, so it was either him coming clean or the cops finding the bullets on him and making him look significantly worse because he didn't say anything in the first place. Now to finish this video off before anybody rides up my ass about this, I have nothing against guns whatsoever. If you can responsibly own one and take care of it properly, it's your right to own one, especially if you think you can better defend yourselves than law enforcement or anyone else for that matter. But I think there's a shitload of people in the comments who own guns, and a lot of them have proven with these comments that they probably shouldn't. Anyways, that's about it. If you guys enjoyed, thank you for watching, and come back for the next.